Hey, I'm currently sat in a Waitrose car park in my car, and I wanted to just record this to prefix the episode, just to say that this episode does contain some discussion of some difficult subjects, such as violence and sexual violence. So if you would rather skip this episode to avoid those topics, totally fine with us. We still love you, and you can just pop in next time. But just wanted to give you a heads up in case that's something you want to avoid. Okay, thanks, and we love you.
Something unclear. We're watching or we're reading or we're looking at stuff. We don't know what each episode will be based on, but one thing's for sure.
Welcome to the Something Art Club.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Something Art Club. The art club where we get together and talk about something. That something is art.
And this is our club.
This week, it was my choice to decide something, and I chose a film called Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Fucking did you ever? Jesus.
None of us had seen it. I stumbled upon it on an Amazon Prime edition subscription of Arrow Video. I was bored one evening and I was browsing and watched the first 5 minutes of it and had to stop it because I wanted to do it for this.
So do you want to sum up the general thing of the film first?
Yeah, right.
It's quite an enigma of a film,
if you can.
You know, until this, I thought The Lighthouse was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, synopsis is...
I don't like the
metal-
synopsis. It doesn't make sense to me.
It does to
No.
me. But
It's not how I read it. But
It's not justice to the film. But
yeah.
it's a very literal description of the plot
Yeah.
in a bad way.
But in a way, it helped me actually understand what the fuck was going on. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful for it.
So this is a 1987 film directed by...
Oh, I did that someday.
See, this is preparation.
Shinya Tsukamoto. It's a black and white film shot in a square format, much like The Lighthouse. Interestingly, the director also acted in the film
Mm-hmm.
as the metal fetishist.
Yeah.
Is that what he was called in the credits? The fetishist?
The credits were in Japanese, so I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
the
think-
fetishist. Did you guys
but
have
he's-
subtitles on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he was called the fetishist in British subtitles, but I think that in Japanese they just called him the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just the guy at the beginning who puts the rod in his leg.
Interesting fact. He voiced Vamp in Metal Gear Solid 4 for the Japanese voiceover.
Ooh, sick.
Cool little tidbit. Anyway, back to the film. Theme. I think it's all about the impact of industrialization on the world.
That's what I've put. Yeah.
Yep.
I put. Yeah.
Right?
That's what I've written.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we go through what was happening first?
Can I read you my notes? Because holy shit. When I read it back, I watched it last night, and when I read it back this morning, it was quite something.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. Machinery water, cardboard cutout, car weird music, Rammstein dance, mushy mush, tree porn tape, Junji Ito, scratching arm, that bit was grim,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
anal sex, feeding her teeth scrapes, gun chew, dick saw, taste my sewage pipe, metal
Yeah.
sits in puddle, character in bath, that was a good moment, he became car driver, Mother Nature tries to kill Metal. Do you catch that? She had flowers in the bathtub. It was
Yes.
like Mother Nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Mother Nature, anal sex, man equals global warming, kill humanity. The lady covered in black paint was like corrupted Earth from industrialization. Rape scene, humanity enjoying it until goes too far. Ignorance of the shock and of horror of reality. Black painted figure dressed like athlete, which comes back to the cardboard cutout of the athlete in the first scene, what he could have been if he didn't get corrupted. Music after fight of them both together, same as when hit by car. Black painted character hit by car, turned other guy, then tracks him down.
That's the film. That's the episode over, I guess.
I actually followed that though and understood everything you meant. The jogger part though.
Yeah.
What did you say about the jogger? Like what he could have been?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in the machine at the beginning, there's a cardboard cutout of like an athlete.
Yeah.
And
There's loads.
he got
Yeah.
the first thing was him putting the metal pipe in his leg, and he couldn't run anymore. So it was like it's ruined his. He obviously dreamed of being an athlete, and it meant that he couldn't be one anymore.
Because he had the uniform on, didn't he? Yeah.
It took his future away, much like the industrialization and global warming is taking the future away from our children.
Yeah, I think that's
So-
a good point.
Should we talk about how it was shot first before we get into themes?
Yeah.
Too heavy. Like I swear it used like every editing technique that I knew. Like
I
Cool
love the
shot.
stop animation in it.
Yeah.
That was the sickest.
It was great.
a lot. Oh yeah, the stop motion stuff that they used was fantastic. I wasn't a huge fan of how, like, especially Japanese horror films of this era do slow motion or speeding things up as well. It gets very choppy, I think, and it can be quite hard to follow sometimes.
Is that like referring to the sort of fast scenes moving through the streets? Like,
Yeah, because it's just
it's staggered, isn't it? Yeah.
like my hands just.
I thought that was so fucking cool, though.
Yeah. It made
It
me
was
laugh
so
though. And
stylish.
Oh, they definitely made it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
it
I
was
didn't
also
really
quite
understand, like, you know, when there was just random clips of sped up sky and shit.
Yeah, that felt like it was just filler because it was like a low budget kind of film, and they just wanted to make, I don't know, maybe not, but just to flesh out the film a little bit.
I
But
think.
sorry, go on.
No, go on. You go.
Oh, I was just going to say I love low budget stuff anyway, but it felt like Eraserhead by David Lynch. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I haven't seen that. I do need to.
You really do. That's also low budget, black and white, and expressionistic lighting is what I like. Yeah.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen it, like, this film it's basically about a guy slowly turning into this, like, robotic monster, like mechanic monster. So there's three characters you kind of turn into a weird robot creature throughout the film.
Yeah,
possibly.
maybe
Two.
4 actually.
Well, yeah, I guess. But it's filled with, like, body horror,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is what made me think of Junji Ito.
It's very Akira, all of the things as well.
I have a point of this as
I
well.
haven't
Sam.
seen Akira,
I think Sam and me got the same point.
but I googled Tetsuo,
Yeah.
and isn't that the character from Akira?
From Akira.
Who also like sort of becomes machine at some part of it. I can't remember it all.
Famously just bulges up into a big old monster thing.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 6, is it?
Haven't played it. Haven't played 6.
No.
Don't bother. No, not 6. I meant 5.
5. All I remember from 5 is punching a boulder.
I ain't got a clue what's going on there.
Yeah. Neither did I.
I didn't have the subtitles on. Sorry, we're jumping around. It's hard to not jump around with this film.
This film jumps around, so I think it's
Yeah.
natural. Yeah.
I think we're doing it justice here.
I
We're doing it
didn't.
in the theme of the film.
I didn't get that. Like, there was perspective shifts that I didn't understand until
Yes. With the TV.
TV.
So you know when you were seeing something through the TV that was like, it was like a staticky TV, and do you know what bit I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the woman was on the bench and she's looking down at the weird robot fleshy thing
Oh,
on the
that
floor,
bit. Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're seeing from the perspective of the robot fleshy thing her coming in closer. So I was like, who's looking at her? And I think it is the guy at the start.
Yeah, it was like the guy inside the machine in his like little pool of water.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like him inside the little fleshy robot thing.
So the main guy that we follow is a salary man. I think that's a very important part of the theming, because it's from 1989. 89.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Hellraiser was 87.
Ah!
This is 89. However, it doesn't really matter. It's still the same period of Japanese history, really. Him being a salaryman is very, very important, I think, because I think that him and the guy who wanted to be an athlete are thematically the same person. So, yeah, nice bit of dramatic pausing there to let that sink in. So, okay, stick with me on this. In terms of chronology, the guy putting the rod in his leg, I'll just refer to it as the guy. The guy put the rod in his leg. Basically, he used to work in like a factory. You can see from the first shot where it has like that nice shaky cam following the guy. And I think that he starts basically to convert his career into more of a salaryman role. And that was a big thing during the 80s, because they had the bubble economy in Japan from like 85 until 91, 92 kind of time. It was this massive bubble economy, because you think of Japanese goods and Japanese manufacturing completely exploding in how many people were buying it internationally. You think how many Suzukis, Yamahas, Toyotas, Hondas,
Pokemon.
yeah, everything. Japanese goods were flying off the shelves at that point. So people were getting loans and loans and loans. And it had basically the country was at that point being remade. Like there were huge like remaking projects all over the country. Like Tokyo was properly taking shape as like a mega city like it is today. And there were just huge bounce forwards. People said, people had the joke of, do they celebrate Christmas in Japan? No, they buy it. Because everyone, there's so much money in Japan, and this is where like quite a lot of the salaryman like archetype came from.
Okay.
It's like the whole 80s neoliberal thing, like burst, hit Japan in a big way. So I think that he was working at this factory. He wanted to be an athlete, and he realized he needed to have a bit more funds, because it's quite expensive to train as an athlete. So he converted his job slightly to being a salaryman. And the more of a salaryman that he is, or like the longer he's been doing it, I think the more machine he becomes. Because the life of a salaryman, if you look at the hours that they work, it's ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
Like, especially actually in modern Japan as well. So many people, not just salarymen now, but so many people work like so many hours and like have so few days off. And like have maybe an hour of free time in the evening, that they are becoming more like regulated and mechanical.
Yeah.
So he puts this rod into his leg, and I think he kind of realizes with the car crash to me kind of symbolized that it was kind of like a point of no return. Like he wouldn't be able to run anymore. Like the machine's salary life has kind of like ruined him from that. And then you have him kind of like the shots with him and his on the phone, right?
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, just saying moshi moshi to each other, which
What
is
does that mean?
it means it's the phone greeting, like hello on the
Yeah.
phone specifically. But they were just saying that back and forth again and again and again. And I think that was kind of showing that the salary life was kind of ruining his relationship,
Yeah.
kind of making it almost stall or stutter, like it can't really start properly like a machine.
Mhm.
Didn't he
If it's just
wasn't
turning
he,
out.
like reading a newspaper at that point too?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it was, isn't
I
it?
wouldn't be surprised if that was like the Financial Times or something.
Yeah.
Should have a look at
Yeah,
that.
that's a good point. And then let me just look down my notes where I have my sudden epiphany. I noticed that a lot of people in their robotic transformations look like Robert Smith at times.
Yes,
Well,
I was going to say The Cure, definitely. Or Edward
neither here nor there.
Scissorhands. Yeah. I did think, going off your point just quickly, when you say like the relationship's kind of stalling and stuttering and no one, it's kind of like reflected in the film's black and white. I know it might have been a budget choice, but I think that it kind of shows that even that is colorless like their lives, and
Nice,
metal is unfeeling and unemotional.
Yeah. And you can see the metaphors in when he hides in the bathroom and she's like, oh, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I don't want you to see like what I'm becoming, kind of thing.
Yeah.
As the salaryman lifestyle like worms its way further into him.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And, like he's got that big old robo drill cock.
Drildo.
And I mean, salarymen are like stereotyped in some places as like sexual harassers, especially on public transport. In Japan, there's a big problem with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Japan has a really kind of fucked up history with, like, its relationship to sex.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, it being so taboo to the point where it's, like, well, as you say, like, people just get sexually assaulted on the train and no one really does it, like, bats an eye kind of thing. I don't, like, I know it used to be like that. I don't think it is still as bad.
I think
they have female-only carriages now.
Oh, do they? But even now, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I was going to say with sex in the film, I don't think there's any moment where some characters are having sex where it's not off or weird. So like you've got they're having sex against a tree with a dying man watching them. They're having sex and he's turning into like a metal bloke. And he has a weird dream about getting raped by a pipe.
I think there is a point where it seems not too bad, and I think that
even then, well, that was before he started like metamorphosizing into the metal guy. But even then, it was like really intense, and they were like dripping with sweat.
When he was having normal sex, you couldn't really, because he had the face thing, but it's like on the other side of him. And I think when he was having like normal sex that wasn't framed in like an unnerving way, he was in control. And I think going back to my massive mega theory for this film, I think that was kind of showing his loss of control, or his feeling at the loss of control of his life kind of thing. And that this the salaryman lifestyle was taking over his life and was changing him. So when he felt like he was in control more, so like when he was on top, basically, that's when it was framed like not oddly, not off.
Okay.
But as soon as he was on the bottom, basically, and he didn't have as much control and was being dominated, that's when they wanted to bring in like the metaphor of him being dominated by this lifestyle and this like salaryman cult of work ideology kind of thing.
That's so interesting because I didn't know about any of that shit to do with like the economy and all that stuff. And once you explain it, it makes a lot of sense. But coming from a perspective of not knowing any of that, I got a completely different story from the film.
Okay.
To me, I don't know how much of like a thing global warming and climate change was in '89.
I wouldn't know.
Don't people make the joke that Al Gore invented it?
When was that?
That was late '90s, wasn't it, or early 2000?
Damn. Well, I guess there was certainly like the accelerated industrialization of like the world at that point. I guess. But maybe this is a good example of how art can change meaning over time. Because to me it was so like about how these metal and sort of mechanic corrupted beings were like corrupting like nature. Because there's that scene where after I can't remember if it's after he kills her with his drill dick or not, but she's in his like
that fucking sentence.
his wife or girlfriend or whatever is in the bathtub, and then suddenly she's got like flowers around her.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, oh, she looks like Mother Nature, like representing like nature.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking that like, man, I'm not good at explaining my ideas.
I got like a demented Ophelia from her.
Oh, what?
No.
Do you know Ophelia from Hamlet?
No, I don't.
You don't know Shakespeare, guys.
I'm sorry. I studied nerd shit.
So Ophelia, just to wrap it up quick, basically goes mad and returns to nature and drowns in a lake covered in flowers and stuff. And it's all about how she, in her madness, progresses to the natural world. And I don't know if that doesn't really tie with this, but
is that where the cover art for that Smiths album comes from?
Maybe actually. Yeah, it's a Millet painting.
Just made me think of American Beauty, which I haven't seen, but I know the.
You'd like that. It's a shame Kevin Spacey's in it, but
yeah, that's the thing. I really wanted to watch it. I was like, oh, I need to see that film, and then that will happen. And I'm like,
I know, it's such a good film, though.
I wonder if anyone's like done a deep fake where they replace him with a different.
Then they'll have to do it again in the future if that actor's been outed.
They should do that. Every time someone gets outed, they deep fake their face over. Anyway, so like there was some bits which like the whole sexual assault scene. It was like I was looking at it through the lens of like global warming, and it was like there was definitely a change at which the woman stopped enjoying it because I think he hurt her or something.
Yeah.
And I wrote down here, what was it? Yeah, that whole scene to me like represented humanity like enjoying the positives of like industrialization, energy, fuels being burnt, and then like suddenly realizing that, oh shit, wait, this isn't fun, this isn't nice. And then that whole scene where she's like, I promise, like he runs away into the bath or wherever he goes, and she's like, I promise I won't get like frightened.
Yeah.
And it's like not realizing the true extent of the horror that we're facing. And then there was just other bits, like, I guess, I don't know, maybe, have you heard of the Texas Sharpshooter fallacy?
No, what is that?
It's the idea of, like, a cowboy in Texas unloading a bunch of rounds into the side of his barn, like, pretty randomly, and then going up and, like, drawing a target around the biggest cluster of bullet holes to make it look like he got the majority on target. That's the idea. It's like finding links where there weren't links.
Yeah.
It's kind of the idea behind, like, conspiracy theorists accepting the information they want to find and linking them, and then ignoring stuff which proves
proves the theory.
Redundant.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking, like, the car running the main character over was pretty literal for, like, fossil fuels.
Yeah.
You.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I can't think of more now.
I think in general, just the kind of, I just got, like, it was an obsession with not necessarily technology, 'cause it's more machines, isn't it? But like, especially with the 80s kind of capitalism and, like, obsession with technology, and it kind of comes through, and it's, like, portrayed in a negative way, and, like, it's almost like a disease and corrupting people.
It's basically Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, isn't it?
Yeah. To be fair.
In a lot of the themes.
Yeah.
Really.
I found it interesting how almost none of the sound was captured at the scene.
Yeah.
It was
no
almost
diegetic sound.
Yeah, Foley and overdubs and stuff.
It added to it, I think, because it was. Well, I was watching it with my headphones on anyway, and it was really loud, but, like, unsettlingly so.
It's really abrupt at times.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh my god, that laughing woman on the screen, like, just randomly.
What the fuck is that about?
Oh, I don't know. That was weird. That was really strange.
Yeah.
And the
You notice how even for, like, the eating scenes, they replaced all of the sound effects with, like, machinery.
Yeah, I've got
Oh
that.
yeah, where she's licking the. Yeah, to me that was like, what was that? What does that mean?
I sort of, like, it's replaced with industrial, like, the industrial's replacing the organic and taking over and stuff like that. Did anyone like the saxophone though?
Oh, fucking what?
For those listening, there's a really sexy saxophone that randomly cuts in, like, twice in the film. Oh my lord, it was so jarring.
Wasn't that? I think that's what I meant when I wrote music after fight of them both together, same as when hit by car.
Yeah,
when he gets hit by car, it goes to, like, a close up of the light, and then it turns into this, like, really sexy
sax music. Oh, it was so funny. I was crying. I actually laughed out loud.
I think I completely missed that in the milieu of this film.
Fair, to be fair. But no, that was definitely a highlight for me.
Okay, so the hobo guy with the pipe. What was you guys' take on that?
I read the Wikipedia synopsis after, and I know Wikipedia is probably not the best source for all these things, but Wikipedia said that the man was a vision from the salaryman's childhood, where he was beaten by this vagrant with a piece of metal, and I was like, oh, didn't get that.
I thought something like that.
How, like, because often, like, kinks or mental, I can't think of the word, not, like, illness is the wrong term, but, like, often stems from childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Maybe that was like, oh, by the way, this is why.
Yeah, like, a scared of metal and what that represents, like, scared of industrialization, becoming cold and unfeeling.
I thought maybe because the guy referred to him as boy, as if he was maybe his dad.
Okay.
I thought maybe this is, like, the guy's poor upbringing, and so it basically compounds the fact that in order to be able to afford to train to be an athlete, he would have had to sell himself to the salaryman lifestyle kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm tying it all back to the salaryman.
It's great.
Honestly,
you do it.
I think it makes more sense.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my notes and thinking what I can say. Because it's all just, like, bits.
Why do
the
you think?
electricity bit, right? When he goes up to the plugs and he's just like,
He's enjoying it anyway. Yeah.
Yes, I thought that was directly a link to the like party drugs and the stimulants that so many people of the time had, because people describe Japan, especially around the big cities like Tokyo, in that period, 85 to like 92, as just one massive extended pie.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was there. Sounds great.
And there's still a cult. Like I've heard from multiple people who have gone on business trips to Japan. Like during the work hours, they're like the most courteous, professional guys, and then you go out with these guys in suits drinking, and they get fucked up, and it's just totally normal.
I quickly looked at some figures, and some years they had the salarymen spending 52% of their salary on alcohol.
Oh my god.
Jesus. About me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense as to why it's there.
Man, that sounds rough.
Why do you think he chose the format that he did, like square, black and white? Because it wasn't. It made it look old, but it wasn't old enough for that to be the norm. Like
it definitely looked older than it was 1989, but that might have just come from the fact that it was really low budget underground kind of thing. Like you get it recently with, well, I say recently, 20 years ago ish, with 28 Days Later. Now, that film looks really old, but it's not. It was just low budget, that first one.
I think the director filmed. He did 2 films before this one, and I think he did them on 8mm. But I think this was his first on 12mm. I think. I don't know what.
16.
It might be 16. I don't know. I can't remember what the number was. But yeah, I don't know why he changed it. I don't really know what the difference is. Oh man, need to look into my millimeters.
Because I know there's 2 sequels to the film.
I don't think I can do it.
There's sequels.
There's 2, Sam.
2 sequels, and the next one is like widescreen in color. And
Interesting.
It looks, just from the stills, it looks bad.
What are they both called?
It was
like
Tetsuo
the Iron
Body Hammer, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Body Hammer.
Yeah.
And then
That's my wrestling name.
it's we know, but now it's weird. The first one came out in 1989, I think. Then the second one was 1992. Then the third one is 2009.
Is it? I'm gonna have to watch them.
I can't face it.
1992 will be interesting because that'll be possibly just as or just after the bubble crashed. The bubble popped in the Japanese economy.
It might represent, Give it a watch, Sam.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. I gotta say that the creepiest bit for me was the woman chasing him down the street with scratching her face.
Scratching her arm. For some reason, that made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that first.
I got shivers thinking about it. Just the sound, like.
Yeah, it was vile.
There's something really disturbing about someone like uncontrollably scratching themselves.
Or like harming themselves.
I wonder if it's like a really deep, like evolutionary sort of fear when you see someone scratching themselves because it's like, oh, you've got a parasite.
Yeah, to be fair.
Maybe, yeah.
I wonder, because there's like certain things which we naturally find scary. I wonder if it's like that kind of level.
It might just be unnerving because like self-harm is not something that comes naturally to humans, I think. And so when you see someone just doing it right there, it's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
And chasing him down the road.
I don't know. For me, it was specifically about the scratching and the sound.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Hereditary a little bit with the wire.
Yeah. Spoilers for Hereditary then. There is wire.
It is the spoiler zone, to be fair. Oh, great film. What else did I write? I'm just looking at my notes. So him running down the street, like the really fast editing where I kind of zoom in down the street on rocket feet.
Yeah, the rocket feet.
What the
Goofy as fuck, I thought.
That's obviously a nod to the runners at the start and him wanting to be a runner. But I didn't really get much more from that than that. I don't know if I'm missing something or if it's just funny.
I thought I kind of lost myself a little bit in those transition. They felt like transition scenes, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to get from one place to another sort of thing.
They needed to get from the house to the factory.
Mm. It was quite a gory film as well. Obviously, like
fucking hell, was it? Yeah.
I know, even from the start, like when he stabs his leg and puts the rod in there, there's maggots and
just
everything.
Immediately, because they go straight into it as well. It's literally from that intro sequence, just immediately into blah.
Yeah.
The leg scene, like when he put it in, I was like, that's when I stopped it and was like, okay, yeah, we need to do this for the podcast.
You stopped there? Oh my god. Fair enough.
Yeah. I thought I knew what I was getting into just from that scene.
Oh, no, you didn't. None of us did. Thanks for picking it, though. It was a very good ride.
I like some of the quotes towards the end where, like, one of them says to the other, "We'll rust the world into the dust of the universe." Thing.
Oh yeah, we should say like the end is basically these two people who have been fighting each other kind of coalesce into this one metal monster and basically go through the streets of Japan saying like, we're gonna fuck everyone up and turn them into metal.
Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it?
Because one of them showed the other one a vision of the new metal world,
like a dystopian metal world.
Completely overcome with, well, all of the ideology that they represented.
It looked like an episode of Doctor Who from the 60s.
It was interesting.
But
I think it's
people in like their plastic cocoons, and like they'd break out and rage out against it, and then they'd just be killed and turned metal anyway.
Bleak. But it's the thing, it's like the world that we live in is not, luckily it isn't the same, but it isn't too dissimilar in that it's dominated by nature as being dug up all the time in forests for buildings and infrastructure. And
it had a very Matrix feel to it, I think. That flashback, that flash forward into the future, especially with like the cocoons and people raging out against it and breaking out, and then kind of being treated as an enemy of that world.
They were raging against the machine.
Don't play a song. Also, the best quote for me in the whole film: "You want a taste of my sewage pipe."
How did I know? How did I know when I heard that?
That was the only quote I wrote down.
Mate, I was like, "Whoa, this is gross." Did you guys know that the woman in it, the wife, was the cinematographer, along with the fetishist guy who was the director? They both did the camera work.
This was just like a super low budget, like underground indie film. So I'm not too surprised that they all had hands in other stuff in the film.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, the filming was not a pleasurable experience at all for any of them, because they spent 18 months in the woman's apartment filming it, and they did not get on by the end of it, I don't think.
Oh, Jesus.
Christ.
I know. I think he said that he was happy to throw away the film. He said that he wanted to throw away the reel of film because it was so unpleasurable. He hated it. He just wanted to throw it away. But
Jesus.
Luckily or unluckily, he didn't do that.
And now we have this.
Yeah.
I did fucking love the film, though. That's the thing.
I think for a low budget, I was really impressed with it for what it achieved, like with effects and things. I don't know if I'd watch it again.
No.
But I had a good time with it. I was surprised each scene, so that it was definitely unique.
I loved it, but I certainly don't feel the need to watch it again anytime soon.
No. It was only an hour. I don't think I'd be too against it.
I'd watch it to show someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Not for pleasure.
No. And
I do like the shot right at the end.
Much like being a salaryman, you don't work for pleasure.
You don't do it for the pleasure. You do it for the doing it. the cult of work kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the end when they literally and figuratively just accelerate off into the future as that final shot, I thought that was telling as well.
Yeah.
Well, they sort of took on two different personas, didn't they? Like one was the anger with the fucking AK shooting into the sky, and the other was the kind of like sedentary vegetable guy, just drooling. Jeez, I couldn't really think about what that might.
Maybe that's just like stupid, like angry people will lead us into us thickos into a stupid world. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think
that's not articulate at all.
I think that it's the two sides of the salaryman, isn't it?
I was going to say, it's like the hyper party and then the like robot.
The guy on top who's like the angry and we must drive forwards, we must like push this all forwards kind of thing. He was the business side of the salaryman. And then the one below was like the
human under that suffering.
The one who was partying while he wasn't at work.
Yeah.
I kind of thought the other way around, yeah.
Because he'd be partying and kind of like just ingratiated in the bread and circuses of the world that would just keep him satiated with his life.
Do you think he was like, I can't think of another way to describe it now apart from sewage pipe, because he had like white liquids coming out of his mouth. Was that like the drain and waste from the creature?
And there was a tube as well. I think he said that he felt like he'd never felt so good, and the whole film he'd been resisting his transformation, hadn't he? He didn't want to become metal, but in the end he kind of had to accept it and was happy to. Strange. I did write two other quotes down I forgot to say. Your future is metal. And there was a sign which said New World. Did you see that at the end?
Yeah. That was in... You saw that as the guy was getting out of like the bath as well. The bath, I think.
Yeah, there was a parallel to draw between him turning into the machine in the bathtub and the guy in the machine at the beginning was in like a little puddle of water.
Yeah.
Made like, I guess, further sort of linking two together. And it's like you develop in, the amniotic fluid.
Yeah. Did you notice that the guy got out of the athlete guy got out and had what looks like an Olympic torch as well?
Oh yeah, well spotted, Sam.
Further representing his dreams.
Yes. Also, they're kind of, it's the runner as a occupation, or it's not really occupation, is not the right word, but as an outlet, it's kind of, you don't need any kind of metal for it or any kind of
it's like
technology.
The most, it's organic, the most like, natural organic sport.
Yeah. That's what I thought led me to thinking that putting that rod into his leg at the beginning was kind of like a sacrifice.
Yeah. Interesting.
Certainly a self-sabotage.
Yeah, because he don't really know why he did it. I mean, as soon as he done it, he looked at his leg and ran out into the street and got hit over because he saw maggots. And to be fair, I think I would... Go on, sorry. I was just going to say I would do the same. I would do the same.
Am I right in thinking that the guy that we think might be his dad now hit him with a pipe?
It was the same kind of pipe he put in his leg.
It did look the same, didn't it? Like, he's called the fetishist in the British subtitles, so it's almost like metal to him sexually arouses him, I guess. Is that why he would put it in his leg? I don't know.
It could be how it's like with abuse, it like becomes part of the person. It like stays with them through life.
Oh, and that's why. Yeah, that's really good, actually, Joe. And that's why he's got the same pipe that his dad hit him with. Yeah,
that's kind of what I took it for. It like became part of his being.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I never really figured that the fetishist was a sexual thing.
No, I didn't get
Never
I
really
guess you
seen
can.
that way.
It doesn't
Well, I just
always
think
have to be
Yeah.
Right.
IRL even.
I think when I think
Did
of
you say
fetish, I just think.
IRL?
Yeah.
God.
I work in the games industry. It's common lingo.
Acronyms
Common
for
lingo.
days.
Common lingo dingo.
But do you guys know? This is a bit random, but Charlie Chaplin. Have you watched any of his films?
Yes.
Just
yeah,
clips.
love him.
Do you know Modern Times, where he's like weaving through loads of cogs and gears, like he's being like fed through?
Yeah.
It's kind of. I think that's about industry taking over as well. I'm not 100% sure, but it just to see like man and machine together, and they don't marry, do they? And that's what this film was doing, I think, as well. The same. Sorry, I don't know what my point with that was. Just like Charlie Chaplin, to be honest.
Reminds me of one of the greats, Metropolis, to be fair.
Yeah, I need to watch that still, but it's quite long, isn't it, Sam?
It's not that long, I don't think.
I still have the DVD you gave me, which I
Oh,
haven't yet
yeah.
watched.
You got it on DVD?
Yeah, it was from like the Times or something, wasn't it? Didn't you get it in like a newspaper?
I got it, years ago. I don't know. I just kept it with me for ages, then eventually watched it, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And
I need to give it a go. 'Cause isn't C-3PO based on the robot in it?
yeah.
Legit, I
Yeah.
think. Okay. I'll give it a go now then.
One thing I
1926.
took away from it is like,
From Tetsuo.
yeah, I haven't seen Metropolis yet. Need to watch it. People dismiss art so quickly that appears just to be obscene. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. People
And,
kind of like brush it off as something just trying to get shock value.
Trying to offend, but like actually, like it does do that. But there's such richness behind it.
Yeah, like we've been able to talk for nearly an hour now about it, so
yeah,
it's definitely got merit. Oh, I had another point. Oh, by the way, Tetsuo, I don't know if this was obvious to anyone else. I didn't clock this, but I had to Google it afterwards. But it translates Japanese to Iron Man.
Oh, fuck's sake! Of course it does.
So that's why it's called that. I think that's all my notes, guys. I don't think I've got anything else.
Yeah, I think.
What did you think about like the weird makeup they were wearing by the end?
It was quite gothic, wasn't it?
Was it? It was more like glam rock to me.
Well, I'm thinking of the Blob at the end when he had the gun, and it was quite.
That was super gothic. But like before that,
I know.
Back when they were all Robert Smith.
This is the thing. It's like punk, and like wasn't punk was a thing at the time, but I was just thinking of like a punky look, and the genre is cyberpunk.
True. Yeah.
And because the other guy didn't have it, but then by the end he did have the eye makeup.
Yeah.
I think it was a big thing in the 80s, makeup, wasn't it? And just flamboyance.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe... Sorry, go on, Sam.
Could just be a representation of whether they've, they're now an agent of the system or not.
And again, makeup is artificial and not organic.
Yeah.
So it makes them look less human.
I'm finding more and more links between this and The Matrix, to be honest, now that I think about it.
I love The Matrix so much. I just
rewatched
still don't know.
it recently. It's still good. But I rewatched the second one too, and it was dreadful.
Still shit, yeah.
I watched the second one when I was 8, and I am obsessed. I love the second one. The first one's the best. Why did they release the...
We will save humanity, but tonight we party.
I forgot about that. But why did they release the second and the third Matrix film in the same year?
Did they?
I'm
it's just
pretty
1
sure.
year apart, wasn't it?
I don't know why they done it. It's definitely you can tell because the third one, the quality of it just feels rushed to me.
I don't even know if I've seen the third one.
It didn't bother. The first one's
I I liked the third one more than the second one because it didn't bore me to tears.
I love the twins with the dreads though.
Yeah, but the second
Silly
one does
little
have
vampire faces when they go all green. What is that?
I know.
the second one has the architect as well, which is good. Anyway,
yeah.
I also liked how the music in Tetsuo was like industrial.
The music was so
80s.
sick.
It was like 80s industrial, and it married.
I saw that. I think Portishead used like footage from the film in one of their music videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I fucking loved the music.
Yeah, no, I was dancing on my own, like.
Oh, super hardcore. Because I love like industrial metal and like industrial EDM kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of this guy called Author and Punisher, he was an engineer and then like quit to become a musician, and he makes his own instruments out of like industrialized metal.
Okay.
And it's all like really obscenely heavy, like, well, it sounds like the music in the film, and it really reminded me of that. It was cool.
Oh, I love all that. It's cool. Fair play.
Yeah. Right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this shit up?
I think
Beautiful.
I've covered everything.
It was like nails down a chalkboard, but it was beautiful.
I definitely had a good time with it, and I would recommend it to people. I just don't know if I'd watch it again anytime soon.
Yeah, I think the same.
Are we doing a rating system and you're picking what the...
Oh yeah.
So what's the scale first?
Scale. Shit. We've done Chuckle Brothers. Done 3 Golden Eggs.
So the Golden Egg's related to the film, like Chuckle Brothers and Hellraiser, like what the fuck?
I'm gonna do Chuckle Brothers each time.
Oh, jeez.
So
I'm gonna do... I don't know, I need to think about it. Let's do just do out of 5.
out of 5 what?
Stars.
5 mechanical screaming stars, maybe.
5 dildos.
Okay. 5 dildos. Bing! Graphic on screen.
Out of 5, I'd probably give it a... I'm going to say a 4, and that's me being...
Yeah.
I'd say 3.9. I'm being generous because I think for a low budget, I would not
Can you
be
hear
able to...
Can you hear my fucking dog barking?
Yeah, I was just being polite.
I can't hear it at all.
Oh, she's lovely. But I think that with a low budget film, I couldn't achieve what they did. So I have to give them plaudits for that, because for a low budget film, those graphics, the body horror and all that shit, it was good. So yeah, it did really well for what it was. So I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, 4, solid 4 from me as well. Like, beautiful film. I think it really got across. Well, it's a lot of things with horror films is that they're not horrific a lot of the time, and I think this really, really hit the nail on the head of like, to the point of making it quite a horror, quite a difficult film to watch at times.
Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
No. And I think that's what more horror films should be brave enough to do.
Yeah, it made actually just sitting on the couch watching it unpleasant. It wasn't scary at any point. But it was just it was an assault on the senses, like in every way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it definitely had a point as well.
Yeah,
I think
it had a reason
what
to be the way it
justifies
was.
it. Yeah.
What would have made it a 5?
What would have made it 5?
Oh.
2 dildos.
Perhaps if it was like I said about how I didn't like the choppiness of some of the shots. I thought that they were kind of goofy. And I kind of took away from it a little bit. But also, I think some of the lighting was off. I think it's just because of the age and the budget. Some of the lighting was off, and it was really hard to make things out sometimes.
I always just felt that was kind of intentional. Like, there was that fucking shot where I can't remember if he was on a phone, but like he was in the center and the camera was like going to either side of him.
Yeah. I thought someone was going to come through the window on the left, but it didn't happen. But
there was like the blood splatters on the left, and I can't remember what was on the right.
That was really creepy because the guy calling him was the one that he thought he'd killed, right?
I don't even know at this point.
The entire film feels like a fever dream, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know what you mean.
Joe, what's your score?
I think a 4 as well, but I don't really know why.
Fair, yeah.
Like,
you just feel it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to rate because it's not like anything I've seen before, so you can't really compare it to anything.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's undeniably itself.
And it was really atmospheric, especially because it was like so quiet. Like there was always noise going on, but the dialogue was really minimal. And it was normally just like breathing noises and people like panting.
90% of the film was ragged breath. Just
yeah.
You get that on anime.
No,
they're really big on their breaths. Like,
Nandayo.
no.
Speaking of anime, what are we doing next week, Sam?
I haven't chosen yet.
All right.
However,
I think we should introduce a rule where you have to decide at the end of each episode.
Oh,
can we do it from the end of next episode? Is that the rule?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Okay, awesome. Because I'm thinking about doing Metropolis for it.
Oh, please, 'cause I need a reason to watch it.
However, I do kind of want to go for something light, because I thought Hellraiser was going to be pretty heavy, and then you guys came out with fucking these small indie horror films that just make my soul shrivel.
Sorry.
So I might just go for something really light. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Bridesmaids for my next one. I think. No, I'm joking.
Fucking 21 Jump Street.
I watched that the other day.
Yay. Sick film.
It's funny.
Anyway,
okay. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching and listening, guys. If you like it, please give us a like and a subscribe on the YouTube. And if you're listening on a podcast application of your choice, please give us a rating of 4 at least.
4 drill dose.
4 drill dose. If not, 3.9. Check us out on social media because we're doing all that shit. And thanks for listening to us ramble, and we'll catch you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.